And we're live. Hey,
Hey,
g'day there, fanatics.
Hi, friend.
Lenny here. Welcome to the first Carpet Grass Club for 2022. We've got Gibbo on my left, which would be your right, and Wally on my right, which would be your left. Yeah, big couple of days in Brizzy, but we won't bore the rest of the country too much with that. But yeah, a lot of things to go over tonight. We've got a couple of good competitions, a couple of cracking competitions. What else have we got?
Cracking competitions. There's more and more.
More and more.
Because we've been away for so long, there's just queues.
Queues of comps.
There's some, we can also. We've finally got dates to go to Adelaide. So
Yep, we're going to Radelaide.
Next
weekend.
Next Thursday.
Yep, next Thursday.
How good.
Probably do a little sneaky live cross on Saturday.
Yep.
Whatever date that is. I don't even know what day it is anymore.
13th, I think.
We've got a new set.
12th.
We've got ourselves a new set, new studio.
Looks good on the old camera.
Yeah, except we can see we're all wearing thongs.
That's all right.
That's okay.
It's the weather.
I've got shorts on, so you can't see mine.
Yes, you can. You see your toe hanging out from underneath your leg there.
Different thong, mate.
Oh, right.
Uh-huh.
Looks cozy. Yes, Max. G'day, Maxie. Yes, it is. It's pretty good.
I can't get into
How
the shoes.
comfy does the deck set up look?
It is. It's
It is.
good.
It's
We're on the
up there.
back deck.
It's comfier than the old studio, got to tell you.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. It's not bad. The workbench from the old studio got relocated to the Weekender.
Yeah, good.
So it's out there.
So I've been away for a while, so obviously you guys have got some questions you probably want to send in. A lot of people have hit me up on Instagram since I posted, what do you want to know? And it's purely around what we're going to talk about with the rain and what it's going to do to your grass and everything like that. But we need to have a sports chat first, I feel, guys.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
It has.
Woo, so much time.
So much time. We're just lucky that it's the start of footy season coming up. Get excited.
Let's go back to my Ashes prediction. I was off,
Yeah.
but not by much.
No.
I said 5-0 and it was 4-0. So
It was pretty dominant.
Shellacking around everywhere.
It was pretty wild. It was good to. It was good. I think for mine, Test cricket's probably my number one sport. I
Yep.
absolutely adore
Yep.
Test cricket.
Yep, love it.
It was good to see that, but then a bit of twist at the end with Langer getting moved on.
getting the speed.
Seems so weird how that got handled.
Spear in the back.
Mate, the only thing that players should be allowed to decide on is what colour Powerade they drink. That's it.
Or maybe not, because if you're in the Fanatics, it's only orange.
There's only orange there, isn't it?
That's
Yeah.
right.
But it leaves it in a bit of a funny time because we've got the test in Pakistan starting
Hockey style.
on Friday.
Yeah.
This Friday coming, and the interim coach is that Anthony McDonald, is it?
Yeah.
And it's basically going to be the team running themselves for. So it's kind of like 70s Test cricket where you have a captain coach, probably like Alan Border at the time.
Yeah.
That'll be really interesting. There's always got to be a scapegoat for something. So I think, when they look to the captain and the captain doesn't have the answers, then even Paddy Cummins himself,
Probably
people are
find
going to be
himself in
asking questions. So
Yep.
I think it's a dangerous move to make.
Starts again this Friday.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yep. So what else is going on in the sports world?
Liverpool beat Chelsea to win the
Yeah,
How do you pronounce that?
Carabao Cup.
Carabao.
It's
What is that?
It's
Is
an
that the-
energy drink in the UK.
What is
It's totally undermining what that cup means.
what is the Carabao Cup? FA Cup.
It used to be the Carling Cup back in the
Carling.
day.
What's
Carling
that?
was
It's
beer,
the
wasn't it?
English Football League Cup. So there's the English Football League Cup, the FA Cup, the Premier League, and the Champions League.
Right.
Of all the main four silverwares in England, it's the shittest one to win, but it's still a trophy.
Yeah.
To beat Chelsea, 10-11 on penalties.
How is that? 10-11.
So it was 0-0 after 90 minutes. They went through the entire team.
Oh,
Liverpool
no,
keeper scored the penalty, and the Chelsea keeper, it came down to him, and he skied it.
Yeah,
over
it
the
went
bar.
well over.
He
Yeah.
was
Have you
trying
seen
to
that?
kick it out of the ground.
Have you seen they do that the kick off in rugby sometimes? And they kick for goal
Yeah, I've
at
seen
the end
that.
of extra
That's-
time or whatever, and it comes down to like some poor old chubby prop
Yeah.
He's got to take a kick for goal, and he's never done it before in his life.
Yeah.
It's so much pressure.
It's such a
ridiculous.
stitch up. Like
Yeah.
those blokes have been like pulling in scrums all day,
Yeah,
and then they bake
it's
them,
like
kick
it's
it
the
to goals.
equivalent of squatting 220 kilos
Yeah.
and then having to do a sprint race. And
That's
then,
right. And not fall over.
And then fall over and then do another set of squats. Yeah.
Shell just said the crickets are super loud. Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
So, as long as you can hear us, that's all that matters. But maybe the drown out of crickets.
There's
could
normal
actually be
crickets.
some
Cam Horsley.
good- Yeah.
That Cam.
No, they're just
Oh, hi, horse.
Normal crickets.
they're just crowing because we've had a little bit of rain lately.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all right.
F1 off-season testing has been interesting. Yep.
Lots going on in the F1 world. Russian sponsorships being pulled.
Well,
Right, Senna.
we're not going to talk about political
No, we're
stuff
not going to
tonight.
that.
I was reading today that there's
It's
talk
already up
that
there.
one of the entrepreneurs is trying to buy his way in, and they reckon he might just bring the whole like landscape of Formula One down because he's from from IndyCar or something, and he's buying in. He's going to use his IndyCar driver, and he just reckons it's small chips for him to do it. You know, they reckon
In the
Renault's-
IndyCar, Scotty McLaughlin won his first ever race, the V8 supercar driver that went over to Conquer
Yeah.
at St. Petersburg in America. But the first non-roundy race,
Mm.
boom, straight in for the win.
Yeah.
Qualified fastest in.
No different to Marcus Ambrose when he was
That's
in
right.
NASCAR.
Yeah.
We're good at turning right,
That's
and
right.
they're not good at turning right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So true. Left only.
Have you not
Simple
seen
enough.
Talladega Nights?
That's right.
Oh, I've got it on Blu-ray downstairs. I do love that movie.
Blu-ray.
So
Blu-ray.
that's pretty much all that happened.
Well, so, well, obviously
Australian
the,
Open
the
tennis, but no one likes tennis.
well, it was
It
good
was
to see Nadal come back and win it.
Yeah. Cost me a lot on my multi though.
And that that Medvedev seemed a bit of a hothead at times, but things he said of recent times, you go, well, yeah, he does actually care.
Yeah.
I think he's just,
You see that crocodile hitting the umpire's chair?
I don't know. I didn't watch enough. Was that during the Open?
No,
Or-
no, it's like last week.
yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't really
Or
watch
on-
much tennis.
Zero or something.
Zero. I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know enough.
Anyway,
I
one of
don't
them
know.
lunatics. Oh, tennis. Look, tennis is not my go.
No.
Geez.
Even Nene says crickets are really loud.
Tennis is not
Sorry.
my go. Well,
There's nothing much we can do.
not much we can do. We can throw a brick or something over there, but
Can you imagine?
Brilliant.
yeah, animal.
All right, we've got to say hi and good night to Kyan and
Hey,
Archie.
Kyan.
Hi,
Hey, buddy.
everybody.
I don't know
You
if
can all
Archie's
go there.
watching, but hey, Archie.
My
Thanks.
boy's inside watching Dragon Ball, so
Yeah.
no, he
Yeah,
won't be
good.
watching.
With a massive egg on his head.
With I come off his skatey today and geez, he's speed
I
himself.
was
hard.
talking about it. I was like, can you do a kickflip?
Oh yeah, his helmet on,
Yeah.
but he's got bark missing all off his arm and his hip
Wow.
and the big egg on his head. But yeah,
You got to do it. That's
gotta
part of
do it.
skateboarding.
You got to do it.
There's a
Yeah.
great TED talk. Rodney Mullen does it, and he talks about like skateboarding is much about how good you get back up on the board as it is about the actual sport itself.
Mm.
He said that's probably one thing about the sport that makes it so different to many other sports is like you stack 100 times before you
Yeah.
learn a trick, like,
Yeah.
and it's such a crazy sport for that because they just keep turning up for more. Like Finn'll
heard-
keep skateboarding, mate. Like,
I've heard podcasts. I think it was Howie
Oh, yeah.
Games
Love
with
that guy.
yeah.
Tony Hawk. That was a really good listen.
His one with Toby Price the other day was amazing. If you
I haven't
ever
heard that one
get
yet.
to watch it.
That would be insane.
So good.
He's a proper lunatic.
He's been on Hey Hey It's Saturday and he was the kid on Pluck a Duck. There's a fun fact.
That is wild.
It's all about it in the Howie Games, but the story behind that is next level. So I
That is
urge you
off
all
the charts.
to tune in and have a look at that because
But we're on the cusp of. Is the NRL start this week?
next week.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah, because we're Bronx will be home game and we're in Adelaide.
That's
How's
right.
that?
I've already thought about it. It's like the only downside. Oh, that's all
I
right.
did
not
see a
even
comment
on-
the other day that with the water inside Suncorp, and you could see this small strip of green sticking out. That's about the size field that the Broncos should be able to defend.
Well played.
Fair enough.
It's like a Gabba wicket in the middle of the Suncorp. Like,
It
It'll
was
be
well.
right. It'll be right.
It does show the crown is well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very even, isn't it?
And they used to talk about apparently one of the like back before it got redeveloped, it used to fall to one side heaps, and apparently Lewis used to just always kick
Kick to that
to that
side,
corner
yeah.
because it would just always roll away.
Service Suncorp will be fine. It's a lot different. We'll talk about the water into it. It's a lot different. That it's not because of dam releases, emergency dam releases with silt getting torn up and relocated all the way down the river. This is purely a
Rainwater.
deluge of rain has gone into the drains and filled the river that way. So it's a
anywhere
lot
from-
cleaner. It's a lot cleaner flood.
Every
And
record,
if you're involved in that flood, I'm really sorry that I have to say that, but yeah, because your house is underwater.
every
it's not
record's
clean.
been just smashed, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's like 700 to almost 2,000 millimeters in 3 or 4 days.
We cracked 700 mils from Friday to Sunday night at 8 o'clock. Friday 4 o'clock in the Arvo.
Yeah.
Sunday 8 o'clock at night.
Wyvern Haydan Monday last week was 58%. It's
I know,
now at
it's
180 something.
Well, we were looking at water restrictions.
November.
I think, yeah, like they were
Getting close.
talking about it.
We discussed it on this. too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
What
the
we
turf at
did-
Suncorp will be fine. In 2011, they had a lot of damage in the stadium. They moved all of that infrastructure above any flood level that could happen. So all the electrical circuit boards, all that sort of stuff has been relocated higher up. So it's basically
Even the lifts, they said they reconfigured them so the lifts could stay at the top of the lift shaft.
yeah.
It would automatically trigger them to go to the top so the lifts wouldn't fill up with water and everything.
Yeah.
It's just
A lot of foresight going into
it's
it.
literally just hose her off and she'll be right to go.
The problem is that, you know, it did flood the 4X factory.
Again.
And, you know,
Yeah.
there weren't enough blokes with stubbies with a life raft just moving, moving cartons.
If only.
Yeah, some people reckon that'll make the place better. But yeah, so Gary says that the Scousers win the cardboard cup and listen to him. Yeah, okay. Mount Glorious was pretty epic. Yeah, it was a
What do
lot
they call it, Mount Glorious?
Would have been some epic waterfalls coming off there for sure.
It's going to be a long time to clean up a lot of the infrastructure around Brisbane. I know
Yeah.
there are issues with buses and trains, and that's going to go on.
Some bad road damage too.
Roads?
Right.
It's
What about
unbelievable.
Mitchie Soccer Club with the AstroTurf field there?
Unbelievable. That was
God.
a all-weather,
All-weather.
all-purpose,
Oh.
you know.
Wonder what the guarantee was. Warranty.
Well, mate,
No, it's simple. It's natural turf outside, synthetic for inside.
yeah, yep. Yeah, because that, I don't know if you see photos of that, the whole thing just got lifted and crumpled, like,
Yeah.
and the carpet and the fibres in there, given if there was any kind of, like sewage or something backed up in there,
It's got to all go.
that'll have to get chucked, which is
Yeah.
such a bad environmental issue. People don't think it's artificial, but,
When it's replaced, it's got to be chucked.
yeah.
Well, it's made plastic.
Yeah.
It does have a lifespan, and that plastic doesn't biodegrade very quickly.
It's about 10 years, 10 to 15 years, so, yeah, wild.
So, how did we fare? Your house is fine.
My house is fine, just wet. Everything's wet. Like, we had a little bit of like water come in through the roof, but nothing to complain about. Nothing you can't fix.
Yeah,
We're fine.
we're quite lucky. Our backyard filled up, but it drains away quite quick being on a hill.
Yeah.
I've been complaining that our chickens aren't laying at the moment, so I've been calling them freeloaders, and Renee's now called them free floaters because the chickens were literally floating around the yard for a couple of hours there at one stage. But we're pretty lucky. I'm cut off from work, which is fine. I work from home, but other than that, we're pretty unaffected.
I'm at
which
a
is-
decent
I'm thankful
elevation.
for.
We're a long way from any flood zones, but we've got a big shout out to our mate Manny.
Yeah,
His house has been underwater for about 2 days now. We're all thinking of you, bud.
yeah.
And as soon as we get 5 minutes spare, we'll be around there.
We'll be around there. The Green Army, not just the Mud Army. The
That's
Fanatics
it.
Army will be there. So, same as any time you need us, Manny.
We are
So
there.
we'll be there.
It ironically really is carpet grass growing weather.
Yeah.
You know, you look
Yeah,
at
little
look at-
mascot.
this
You can't
stuff.
see the mascot. We'll have to improve that.
Yeah,
But
but
you
it
can
is.
on YouTube, but you can't.
When
on
did you
Facebook.
cut this? Yesterday?
Nah.
Because it is wild. It is. It's out of control. And you look at the moment, like, you know, a lot of people are asking wet weather, a lot of cloud cover, grass elongates. And you look at the one grass, or probably two or three handle this kind of weather. One's definitely carpet grass.
Yeah.
And then the rest are probably your Zoysia Matrellas. Like, they just
Carpet grass, Tully tough.
totally
Well,
tough.
North Queensland is built for. Could that be a new marketing strategy
Well,
for carpet?
I wonder if Tully will get the chocolates this year for wettest
I think-
town. It'd probably be Mount Glorious.
It's either Tully or the Binder.
Yeah.
But Binder's a tiny little town near Tully, and they swap it over.
I just can't see it though. The averages the water that we got over the last,
It's next level.
you know. And there's talk that it's still like we probably won't get events like that, but there's talk that there's still plenty of moisture for the next couple of months.
It's 2 months until
Thursday.
the end of cyclone
Storm
season.
season, yeah.
Yeah.
Still 2 months to go till the end of cyclones.
It's interesting. Everyone's like, "Oh, gee, that rain came late." I used to keep rain charts at Redlands for like 10 years, and the wettest months I used to think in southeast Queensland are March and April.
Really?
Yeah, by far, like hands down, you'd always get like a 200 to 300 mil rain event.
It was always the week before or during Easter.
Easter
a lot of
is
the time.
always wet,
It's
isn't it?
super wet,
Like-
always.
Maybe that's something we should look at for the fanatics is doing a group. You know,
Rain
like
chart.
keep your own rain chart.
Yeah, that would be
And
so
we'll
cool.
Do that. We'll do
It's
that
like-
from start of spring.
Yeah, because we have bomb obviously,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I think like it would be awesome if like, I think it'd be awesome to do it on like anyone that commits to the Q&A.
Yeah.
Like if we just nominate someone from that region to be the keeper of the rain chart. Now we could have like a Sydney region.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, Cam Horsley, donut. Our mate Cam's in Perth, and they haven't had a sniff of rain for a couple of
yeah.
months.
Maxie can do it for Adelaide.
Donut.
Yeah, that.
Donut.
Hey, wait, Maxie, we're coming down this weekend, so
Yeah, Matty,
we're down there
Matty.
Thursday morning, Thursday lunchtime.
We'll bring the rain
We'll
chart.
bring it with us.
We'll
We'll
fill
bring
in
the
the
rain.
30 mil for you, so you don't have to do anything.
The 3, yeah, you're done.
I spoke to Clint this afternoon, actually. Clint Adams. G'day, Clint.
Hi, Clino.
G'day,
And
Clintos.
he's
Let's get it happening
trying
next
to
week.
rig up some stuff for us to do on the Friday, which may or may not include Adelaide Oval.
Sounds tough. Sounds really tough.
Sounds horrible, doesn't
So
it?
apparently, that leads us into one of the comps. But anyway.
Oh, and we got wood-fired pizzas at his house Friday night.
That sounds.
Was that at Ricey's house?
With Ricey. No, at Clint's house.
Oh, right, because Rice has got a gun pizza
I
on
was,
it
I was
too,
gonna say I was gonna be that annoying bloke that's gonna spill beer and spew on his lawn.
On the
No.
ride. She
No.
get it.
No.
So you actually got a legitimate question from Tyson. With all the rain and humidity, so many have fungal issues.
Mhm.
Should we be grabbing contact fungicide treatments or the systemic products? Well, Michelle's just answered that.
She's just
systemic.
on it. I
Straight
think,
into it, Michelle. Oh,
Thanks,
oh.
Michelle.
I think I've seen Michelle answering the
Systemic.
same question.
But I mean,
We
Michelle
appreciate
can
it,
answer
Michelle.
this.
Thank you.
Are you best to just let it dry out for a couple of days and just see what happens? It might correct itself, or just without reaching for the fungicide to start with.
That's what my approach is this time. Not that Aussie Blue gets that much fungus, but like it was dead set underwater for a couple of days. There's a lot of moisture there. I went to mow yesterday, went to get the big girl out, and it just sunk straight down. So I won't be mowing for a while, which has a lot of moisture in there, but I'm hoping with this sunshine around, the top is already starting to dry out. I don't think I'll have any fungal issues, which is great. But
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
will be
Give
people
it a
with
chance
it.
to dry. And if there's something there, then by all
Yeah,
means.
sunlight's a great sanitizer. Like it, a lot of the diseases you get because of the rain are moisture and
Lack of
cloud
sunlight.
cover, lack of light, and the light gets rid of most of your spot diseases just as it is.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it's hard to know. Like if you've got a grass that you've never worked on before, and you're not used to it being this wet, your best bet's probably just to let it sit for a couple of weeks, and if it gets out of hand, then hit it with the systemic fungicide.
Yeah.
If it does, if it starts to come good, then it's you probably don't need to too early in the piece.
Yeah.
It's probably the last resort, I'd say. Yeah. I'm in that same boat. I've got a grass that I haven't worked on before, but
What have you got?
it's a Homer 31.
No, we'll get to that in a second.
Look out.
But a lot of the time with all these, you move grasses from places around the world to a new place. You get different light conditions, certainly different climatic conditions, and it does throw another, pigeon in the nest, so to speak.
It's a lot of humidity around right now. You can just feel it. Even.
Mm.
It's just,
Yeah,
Oh,
sweat
yeah.
like a fat truckie.
it's like give up the apple pies waiting for it to open.
Well, I think what was really interesting, a lot of people, I was in Sydney last week, a lot of people were saying how cool Sydney has been. But it's really weird, if you actually look at it on average, it's actually been one of the warmest summers they've had. Because the nighttime temperatures aren't dropping that low because of the humidity.
Right.
So it's been one
The
of the
soil
most...
temps aren't real high though.
No.
I've seen a
No.
lot of a lot of posts in the turf groups about
the power and stuff.
power already appearing.
Yeah, and that's a
Whoa.
normal thing, but they've actually had one of their warmer summers, and it's purely because of the cloud cover holding in all the temperature, and
Probably
actually like
nice cuts.
you're not getting these
Yeah.
big highs and then these big lows. You're
Mm.
just getting like these consistent kind of mild temperatures, but on average, it's actually one of the warmer ones.
Yeah.
It's weird.
All right. So back to the
ribbit.
I've got a question on the old tubes. Dan Ibbotson, wondering what the difference between Tsunami Soil Wetter and Plant Doctor Nature Soil Wetter price difference per litre. Is there a quality difference?
Yes.
Yeah.
Generally, like you kind of get what you pay for.
Yeah.
There'll be a difference in the way those products are formulated. There'll be a difference in the types of polymers, like because most of the legwork of those wetting agents on the market are polymers that act on the water. Because all wetting agents are surfactants, which stands for surface active agent. So they don't actually work on the soil; they work on the water and how the water interacts with soil particles.
Mhm.
And so those active ingredients will be the things that change, and they're the things that change the price.
Yeah.
Basically.
There you go,
there
Dan.
you go.
Question answered.
So that, from my understanding, the Plant Doctor stuff pushes it in pretty well. Doesn't hold it as well as some of the other ones, but it is a more natural
Derived.
derived thing than some of the other ones.
Mm. I think they use things like fulvic acids and
Yeah.
humic acids,
Yeah.
which, if you look at soil humus, it's essentially a natural soil wetting agent.
Yeah.
Like it's organic matter. If you can build up organic matter in your soil profile, you eventually you probably don't need a wetting agent.
Yeah.
Wetting agents are more for high proportion sands or sands that become hydrophobic because they don't have enough organic matter to retain moisture to become accessible to plants. So
Great
so
answer.
the Tahoma
I've
31,
missed it.
how's it performing?
it's got it does look like the wet has knocked it around a bit, but see, I'm probably being a bit hard
There's not
because
too many lawns around Brisbane at the moment that haven't been knocked around.
yeah, well, you look at any grass and it's got disease.
Or
But
yellow.
the challenge is, I only laid it. I think it's only 10 weeks old. You know, and we judge grasses on their performance after 10 weeks. I think the classic example is we've seen a lot of fanatics put Sir Grange in as an example, and make a judgment call on it after 12 months, when we know Sir Grange can take almost 2 years to set rhizomes. And probably 3 years then to show its true colours.
Yep.
I think couch grasses are the same, like Tiff Tough, Tahoma 31, Wintergreen, like they take at least a full summer, if not 2, so 2 years probably before you start seeing its true traits.
Yeah.
And so, as a
Just for
plant,
that first year at least, it's really getting used to that new home and just bedding itself in.
it's bedding
It's
in.
trying to live out of that much. Whereas once it's set in, it's living out of this much.
Yeah,
You
and,
know,
then,
like,
and then it sets those
That's
rhizomes.
right, you
So
got
when
the
it goes,
rhizomes.
when you go through like a winter event or like a stress event, and or you scalp the plant and you set it back, what's it drawing on?
yeah, no.
As a juvenile plant, it's not drawing on anything. But as a more established plant, it's going to draw on those rhizomes to regrow and recoup itself.
Yeah.
Even from a disease susceptibility point of view. So it's struggled a little bit, but I'm gonna probably hit it with a fungicide. Not sure which one yet, but I might go with like a contact and then put a systemic down as well.
Yeah.
And I think I might do one that takes me through for spring as well. Like as in like if you do your application intervals right now, you can treat for things like spring dead spot and whatnot in the
Further down.
springtime. Yeah, because it's just early days. You know?
Yeah.
It's a unfathomable weather event. So what do you do?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't really judge a new product on its performance given the last week.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tahoma 31, it's the new buzzword in lawn, and
That's because
those who have it love it, and those who don't have it want it.
Pretty much.
So our mate, what's his name, Dave
Dave.
Raisin at Dad and Dave's Turf, has come up with a comp for us. So it involves people who they're able to deliver to. So that's South Australia, Victoria, New South Wales, and Queensland. Sorry if you're in Western
Sorry,
Australia.
Horse, you missed out on the rain and the comps.
It's just too far to get turf over there safely. So, what Dave is doing, and thank you very much, Dave, he's giving someone in South Australia up to 200 square metres of Tahoma 31 delivered to your place. The same for Victoria, the same for New South Wales, and the same for Queensland.
Okay. I didn't realise. I thought it was 200
No.
for the Fanatics, and someone in one of those states is
No.
going to win it.
It's 800.
You're saying it's 800
800
squares
square
over.
metres, split up between 4
in
states.
allotments of 200.
You're
Yeah,
kidding.
for up to 200 square metres.
Woohoo!
So, the condition
Come.
to do the prep work
Yeah.
to get your new lawn. Okay, so if you're willing to do that prep work,
Don't answer.
be in it. So this comp will start this Saturday, and it will be for South Australian residents. We'll run it for 2 weeks for South Australian residents, and then we'll give it a.
for a week while we draw it while we're down there in South Australia. That's just a. I don't know. Is that enough time to run it?
I don't think that's enough
I
time.
don't think it's
sweet.
time.
All right.
2 weeks.
It's probably going to be washed too.
Yeah.
Can you tell we make this stuff up on the fly, guys?
I
think it's going to be
yeah,
washed
Julian,
too.
that's part of New South Wales. You're in the middle of New South Wales, so
Canberra counts as New South Wales.
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
You might be a territory,
Um,
but you're inside a state.
Just a bit about Tahoma 31.
Tell us what the 31 means. Well, we've been over it before, but for all those playing at home.
I originally thought it was because of the latitude lines, but it's actually not. So when they breed turf grasses, they have code names, and this was bred under OK C 11-1131. And then when they went through all the trial work and all the screening, they said, let's keep that 31 code name because it's just got a ring to it.
Yeah.
And then let's add Tahoma, and Tahoma means frozen water in Indigenous American language.
Yeah.
And the reason it means frozen water is because when they tested Tahoma 31 for freeze tolerance and cold tolerance, it ranked #1. So,
Right.
you know, a lot of the other hybrids, a lot of the other cooches switch off much earlier, and they come out of dormancy much later than Tahoma 31. I'm talking like 4 to 6 weeks
Lots
later.
of difference.
You know, and like 4 to 6 weeks doesn't sound like a lot to us because, well, people in Canberra would know it, but like a lot of us on the coastal areas wouldn't know. But you know, a month to a month and a half of dormancy is the difference between like having a nice lawn and Christmas and not.
Yeah.
You know, like,
And being able to reno and not.
yeah, yeah. So it ranked #1 for that. It ranked #1 for colour.
Yeah.
#1 for
And the
quality
colour is epic.
in the Antep. So I think after you fert most couch grass, it gets that real vibrant, deep dark green colour.
Mm.
This is that grass, just that's
Before
its genetic colour.
Yeah.
You don't have to fertilise it to get that colour, and then when you do fertilise it, it's like
Off tap.
yeah, like people
It's
stop.
low input too, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't need a lot. It's like any hybrid, like Tiff Taff, Tahoma's the same, Santarena. They don't need a lot of nitrogen to get them looking good. They are aggressive.
Mm.
They do grow quickly. This one has a funny growth habit though. Funniest I've ever experienced. It seems closer to Santa Ana than anything in that it's a bit more stoloniferous in that it runs across the ground more than it'll seem to set rhizomes. Which is really interesting given that it's got such good freeze tolerance and cold tolerance and things. You'd think it'd be like this real
Deep
heavy,
diver,
deep.
yeah.
Dave was
rhizome
saying, like, sprig it and it runs fast.
Yeah,
it
but
settles in quick.
if you lay it
But
as
if you
sod,
lay it as sod,
Yeah.
it just sits there and doesn't move.
it's
It
weird.
won't- It won't spread.
It's bizarre. It is so weird.
Yeah.
And plugs and things, it grows quick.
So it doesn't spread into your garden beds that much
Yeah.
because if you lay it as sod, it just stays there.
So it has a lot of good traits going for it. And then the other thing, like they have compared it in the Antep trials. So these are independent university research trials in the US at several locations against the likes of Tiff Taff and other grasses, and it ranked #1 for drought resistance as well. So
Yeah.
probably dependent where it is. Like I think it's clearly adapted to areas that get really cool, but
Yeah.
also areas that get ridiculously hot.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking before how to go for the disease tolerance. Michelle said she had a customer that put it in and it struggles with humidity. I think all hybrids struggle with humidity. You know, even Georgia, like it is humid, but it's not the consistency of humidity that we get
Gibbo
here.
struggles with humidity.
I'm
Yeah.
struggling right now.
So,
Not gonna lie.
I'm keen to see like my first impressions of it is it's the best colour and quality turf grass I've ever seen, and I've worked on hundreds
lot.
of different types of cooches and things.
Yeah.
So I think if you win the comp, you're in for an awesome lawn,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
So this will won't be sort of one state after. We want to do 2 weeks of South Australia, give it a rest for a couple of weeks, then we'll do Victoria, give it a rest, give New South Wales and Queensland.
It's going to be on.
So it's not if you win, you instantly have to take this turf. You can put it in the bank until spring.
Yeah.
So you
organise it.
can win it in 2 weeks' time in South Australia and just say, all right, well I'll just sit 3 weeks
These are the
up.
dates that I want to do it.
This is when I want to do it.
The
And
beauty,
Dave will have
the
it.
beauty about it as wash turf too is you can do a pre-soil test with Michelle as an example. Get your soil exactly right from the physical characteristics, like how much sand, silt, clay do you want, but also like what nutrient do you want,
Yeah.
and what amendments do you want to put in it. How do you want to screed it? What levels do you want? Do you want to put irrigation? Get all that stuff right, and then put the 200 square meters down.
And
I
you're set.
guarantee you just won't have issues.
Yeah.
Like it'll just be an easy lawn. Like so.
Yeah.
It's like
So the-
cycling a fish tank before you even get the fish in there.
Yeah.
So we'll announce that on Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday this
Pretty
week.
exciting.
Yeah,
So that'll come up.
It's
Thank
mate.
you very much
And
to
it's
Dave
just-
and the team.
This
Like,
one is
that's
Yeah.
just for
epic.
residents of South Australia. For the first one, it'll be just for South Australia.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
pumped. I
Mm.
can't wait to have other people that get to experience Tahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a Tahoma comp.
Nice.
How good's that? Oh,
Not
that's the value in that is just incredible. And huge thank you to Dave from Dad and Dave's Turf for putting that out there. I've spoken on the
So,
phone to him a couple of times.
Is that
now.
where yours came from, Wal?
No, mine came from a different farm. I think Southern Cross Turf,
Okay.
but Dave organised it for me.
Okay.
So Dave's they're part of the Green Space Co-op, that group.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But they really just present Tahoma 31 to the market. So they've got a lot of trial sites now. Like I think there's small patches at places like the Gabba and around, and a lot of the stadium curators are looking at it going, this could be the one.
There's one coming up to Brisbane soon.
Yeah.
Going to be laid in Tahoma. So that's
Yeah.
cool. G'day, Luke. Haven't got to you yet, but we're coming. We're getting there. So that's cool. That's awesome. So fire in questions, people, if you want.
Yeah.
If you want, don't be shy.
I've just got greetings from across the Dutch.
The Dutch.
Someone who must be watching in Zid.
Well, the New Zealand Lawn Fanatics, which is associated with us, is firing along nicely. There's over 1,000 members in that.
Wow.
I didn't think there was 1,000 people in New Zealand. But
Seeing more and more content, like better content as well, like
Yeah.
some unbelievable lawns coming
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
And then lawns that like I saw a lawn the other day where someone hadn't mowed it for like, I know it was probably cool season, but they're like, I haven't mowed for like 5 weeks, and they striped it up, and I was like so jealous. It's probably tall fescue or something, but still.
What did you say to someone the other day? You could stripe that with your boot.
Yeah, you can. When I oversowed,
And the row.
you just walk through it and you just bloody big footprints. There's some A. So the next question from Tyson. It's the second out of 3 questions that he's allowed. It's not a new product. David Grace Crabgrass Killer has been around for eons. The same as the Brunning stuff from Bunnings. It's been around forever. Yeah, Michelle, hey, look, if you'd have been on time, we answered that already.
No, that was before we started filming, wasn't
Was it?
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, I'll get to it. That'll be your next, Michelle. We'll deal with you in a minute. So DSMA and David Grace Crabgrass Killer, it is being sold online for home use. Yep, it's a Schedule 6, which means it's not restricted. Schedule 7 is restricted. So this is a very watered down version of what Schedule
I'd
7 stuff
say
runs.
it'd be the classic 74 grams per litre.
You've got to
DSMA.
use an extortionate amount
Yeah.
to get any
The rates
effect.
end up, yeah, much higher.
You need to buy a few bottles.
And he wants to know if there's anything out there for buffalo,
What's he trying to get rid of?
crabgrass,
Crow's foot, paspat.
yeah, whatever,
Sometimes,
summer grass
yeah.
in buffalo.
Your best bet's a good pre-emergent, and then actually just other hand weeding. Like
I went around the other day and pulled out all the crow's foot I could while it was like so soft. I was just pulling out
Those-
big root bundles
Like a
this.
screwdriver or those
Just
reader
little
things you can
fork
get
pins.
from Bunnings, like
Yep.
the stand-up ones.
Yep.
If you hit it with like a pre-emergent, like spend the money either, you know,
Barricade,
Granular-
or Trojan, or
oxidize on whatever, but just follow the label and
Yeah.
and make
Be
sure
religious about it.
you reapply.
Yeah.
And then you just hand weed. You'll find
Yep.
your weed control will be far greater, and your plant, like your buffalo plant, will grow in much quicker than using a herbicide anyway.
So back to Michelle.
Okay.
I spoke to the guys at Syngenta today, specifically about the longevity.
Yeah.
Got that, Benny Cameron?
Yeah, like that, Benny Cameron.
Of the Celiprin and
Bring them along.
Barricade,
Bring them along.
specific with all this rain. So, and their response was, Barricade will be fine. It's really good at sticking to soil particles.
Yeah.
So it will be fine. A Celiprin itself goes into and is absorbed by the plant. So
Also got nothing to worry about.
that if you've applied it within the last 2 weeks, you'll be fine apparently.
Prior to last Thursday, you're all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure of like how much uptake or like what the length of time to uptake like enough active for it to be effective. But you look at most herbicides and pesticides, it's between 4 to 6 hours by most of that's uptaken by the turf plant. So
Yeah.
if you had a good period of obviously irrigated in and then you get that uptake for that period, I think you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's great. Thank you to Syngenta for getting back to us so fast.
Moshi, thank you,
Thanks,
Moshi.
Moshi.
Dean Mosh.
Cheers, mate.
We're going to get him on.
Get it on.
Get her on with Moshi
Get it on,
on
yeah.
the live stream.
Feed him Mungo.
Might
Probably
even
do
see if
like
we can
a-
bring the doctor.
Ooh.
oof, yeah, that would be good. And do like a Syngenta products based
Yeah.
Q&A.
Like they did at the Dolphins that day. How
Because
good.
Brett, like we get a lot of questions about weeds on here.
Yeah.
A lot of post-emergent.
Yeah.
But Brett did a really decent one on pre-emergence and how they worked, and it is, if you understand it a little bit more and you're a bit more clear cut on how you do it,
Mm.
you'll find like you just will barely use a post-emergent herbicide,
Yeah.
like something to kill
Do
existing
the
weed.
prevention, not the.
Yeah,
And he looks like Manny.
yeah, and you know
It's a bit taller and a bit solider.
everyone loves a doppelganger.
We'd have to get Manny for that one. Manny on the couch with Dr.
No, I
Brett.
found Manny's doppelganger, and the bloke's name was Manny.
Get out.
Yeah, I'll show you photos later.
Let's go.
I haven't sent him the photos.
You just have to get Kenny on here for my doppelganger.
Benny
Yeah, cool.
Benny Cameron knows.
Yeah.
I've sent Benny Cameron the photos, and Benny just Benny knows.
Yeah, Yeah, you don't stress too much. Spartan versus Barricade. This is Tyson's third of 3 questions.
Well, well, people go they're the same active ingredient, but they are different because the way a brand name's formulated or the way pesticides are formulated, there'd be patented things in the Barricade formulation that make it
it's not
essentially
just
different.
about the active ingredient.
It's
Yeah.
how it's,
It's about
formulated,
the
right?
rest of the It's
In a
like
way, there's-
it's like Primo versus
Astro. Or,
Astro.
Yeah.
Primo's better because of the rest of the ingredients, not just the trinithiol
I've
or
heard
whatever it
one of
is. It's
the-
the rest of the stuff. It's
One of the Syngenta guys talked before at a commercial, like a turf managers conference thing, and he was saying that there are upwards of 200 to 250 inerts
Mm.
that go alongside the active ingredient and make it what it is.
yeah.
And so, like all of those things, like if you look at, like perfect example, like Bayer is an example. Like Bayer do the Stress Guard range. That Stress Guard is a patented formulation.
Yeah.
You know, BASF do the intrinsic range.
Yeah.
You know, like there's all these additions that they make that take that active ingredient so
Yeah,
much
next level.
further.
Yeah.
Some of them actually have
The
proven
original is the better. And
plant health benefits.
Well,
Yeah.
Dr. Brett talked about that in the presentation we saw that day
Yeah.
about what they mix with it. It's
Yeah.
basic
Yeah.
chemistry, but is what causes the longevity.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
for the home user, Spartan is a half litre and Barricade is a litre.
Yeah.
So if your budget suits Spartan better, then get Spartan.
Yeah.
If you've got a bigger area, if you've got 100 square metre lawn, don't get Barricade, get Spartan. If you've got a bigger area, get Barricade. It's going to be cheaper in the long
Gotta
run.
go the long way. Yeah.
So yeah, there's your 3, Tyson.
Yeah, you're right. You're
But you
done.
now have to hang around
He's
for the
asking
rest.
good questions.
Good
Yeah, they are
questions,
good questions, and they're keeping us full up.
Okay, yeah, right.
What's happened here? Is Benny coming joining in, or
Tell Gary I'm sitting on a milk crate.
He's sitting on a milk crate. I'm actually laying back in a 45-degree angle. if I sit up, it's ridiculous.
yeah?
I actually drink Primo every night, so.
I drink orange lemonade.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, how good is orange lemonade?
Yeah. I've already finished.
We're not sponsored yet.
Second cup.
Knock knock.
If everyone wants to send a message on social media to Staminade to sponsor us,
Yeah, everyone in the Fanatic, so get on
Maybe
to
we
it.
could get Staminade to sponsor the Fanatics Renault season. Like just from,
Yeah,
like,
that'd be good.
from October through to like mid-December. And
are
they
you
just,
moving the bloody lolly jar?
No, I moved the bucket because I was
We get, like,
keeping my toe on it all the time.
thousands of sachets sent out and they just get posted to Fanatics members. Or-
Yeah, we'll hit them up.
Yeah, let's do it.
Could be good.
Tips for prolonged colour on Sir Walter heading into dormancy. I think you'd probably tips for any turf type really, apart from cool season.
Prolonging colour.
Good.
Polyhalite and
I was
magnesium.
just gonna say that.
No, oh, well, see, there's only so far you can get that plant because he's talking about more like the once it starts getting cool, the plant just starts shutting down. So, believe it or not, like, yep, like obviously, like having nutrition there in the ground for it to draw on. So, like a good granular controlled release that'll. So if it's sitting there in the ground and the temperature's right, the plant will take it on that day. So that'll help with the colour. But then actually look at colourants. Like a lot of guys mix things like black line marking paint and green dye once you go into dormancy to actually maintain that
So
green colour.
pigments.
Yeah, so pigments,
pigments.
colourants.
I saw
Proper
one of them
pigment.
spraying some of the baseball fields in America the other day with pigment.
Yeah.
It was next level, the difference
ridiculous.
it made.
Yeah.
It was just like,
Well, the other thing too, like, if you get it right, like I know, like, they looked at like black line marking paint and even like some of these green pigments, but you can get increases of like 2 to 4 degrees canopy temperature.
Yeah.
Which is the difference between dormancy and not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like the plant actually is greener. And I don't know if you've ever line marked in black line marking paint before in the height of summer. But yeah, it's black, but once the line marking paint disappears and you have no line marking there, the lines are actually greener. Because
Yeah,
you're
right.
drawing more heat to the turf and so it's
Yeah.
photosynthesizing more effectively.
interesting.
Yeah.
Question from a mate of his, Benny Cameron's Benny Cameron does have mates. What should we be looking for our soil profile after all the rain, assuming most of the goodness is washed away? Good granular fert
stitch
and
up.
hit it with some liquid.
He's just baiting us.
Yeah.
No, it's probably just continue on from the last one, like a good control release granular, and then actually what you see, particularly in the tropics, subtropics, blue cooch gets it, but you see iron deficiency a lot. You see a lot of micro element deficiency.
It turns yellow in the top of the
Yeah,
leaf,
yeah.
is that
You
what
get
you're
that
talking
kind of
about?
yellowing,
Yeah.
that chlorosis at the leaf tips.
Stress buster.
So hitting like get your granular fert base in, and then use like a liquid iron or nitro iron product just to give it a quick top up, and you'll find
Yeah.
it'll just bounce back quite quick.
Mine did the next week. It was crazy.
But be careful because if you've got if the conditions are right and you've got that disease hanging there, and then you're just putting like liquid nitrogen on your plant, and you're putting more nitrogen down, and it's the wrong thing for say Pythium or whatever, you could just be exacerbating a problem. So
Feeding the disease.
yeah, so maybe just wait a little bit, and get it cut on and
Actually, you've had
whatnot.
a week of sunlight.
Let
just
it
to-
dry out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was saying iron with amino acid when the season is cool and the plant is not so active.
Yeah.
So, the next thing we got to do. Ooh. We've got a Scott Bonner 20 inch.
Ah!
Yeah.
Hang on, cricket, shut up.
You've had your time.
So, we've got two things to give away as a package. It's a Scott Bonner 20 inch and it's a Scott Bonner Edger. So it's like the ultimate lawn care package for you lunatics out there. Lunatics. Someone tried to steal that off me.
It's not just a 20-inch. What's happening to this 20-inch?
It's not just that. We're sending it up. Actually, I'm going to personally deliver it. I'm driving it to Bundaberg for Luke Duke to restore in. I'm not going to say the colour you want because there is a limit to the colours that he can do. But you get to decide what this is going to look like
from a series of colours.
from a series. He'll give
Wow.
you some options, and you get to pick what you want. So
Wow.
it's a twin rail Scott Bonner 20-inch, restored by Luke Duke, delivered to your place, and it's a Scott Bonner Edger, restored by Luke Duke, delivered to your place. That's the prize.
Wow.
And if you don't know who Luke Duke is, check out some of the cylinder mowers that he's got.
It's not a unicorn Tyson. It's
No.
a twin rail, not
It's
a
a
solid
twin rail.
deck, but still.
Close enough.
Close
enough.
to a
It's
unicorn
a
at the moment.
20-inch Scotty.
They're all
so-
selling for like $3,000 at the moment, or whatever it is now.
Yeah. So how do you enter this? It's for well, particularly for me, it's really hard to do competitions where you keep an eye on entries. So the best way we can do it, and to recover the cost of this is costing me a bloody packet. Go to the Fanatics website. We do have a website. It's ordinary, but it does work. You're going to fix that up.
My work's going to.
There is a shop there. Okay, there is one item in the shop. I got rid of all the merch. I'm not doing that anymore. And I'll get to them. I'll do merch thing in a second. You can buy yourself a ping pong ball. That ping pong ball will be entered into a race, and we're going to race the ping pong balls. It'll involve a big slippery dip and a leaf blower and stuff like that.
It's going to be
It's
spectacular.
going to be redneck as all hell. Okay, so the winner of the redneck ping pong ball race wins
The ultimate
the
prize.
Scott Bonner package. Simple as that.
Unbelievable.
So just go to the Fanatics website, australianlawnfanatics.com.au, buy yourself a ping pong ball, and you are in the race.
How good.
How does that grab you?
I think that's pretty amazing, to be honest.
That's unbelievable.
So this will be. How many cylinder mowers are we up to now in this since the inception?
5 or 6.
I think this is 6,
Yeah.
including the one we're going to go to Chad's house in a couple of weeks.
So we've given away 2.
Two
This will be the third 20-inch Scott Bonner.
That's unbelievable.
Wasn't there a 17 Scotty at one point?
We gave one to Benny Tullipin,
Oh yeah, that's
that
right.
restored Rover one. So
Yeah.
that's 4.